Hello, hello. Testing, testing, testing. We are live. I am back. How is everybody tonight? 15 people already. Wow. Let's see how long we can go before we have to turn on slow mode. Hello, how is everybody? Bobby, I see you. What time is it Eastern? 7:29. We are actually on time tonight. I've made it a personal goal to make sure we go live at the exact right time. Audio is sounding good. Good, good, good. Hey, everybody. How is everybody tonight? Show, hello. Sui, hello. Aqua, salutations. Salutations to you. Fox Starlight, welcome to the stream, my man. Oh, by the way, I've been meaning to talk to you. I saw your message about a video idea. I need to talk to you about that. Alex, you are a new subscriber. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the stream. Nate's TV, hello. How is everybody tonight? Sorry I haven't been too active over the past week. I just got back from a short little vacation with my family. So we are back. I am back, and I've already begun work on the RMS Olympic episode. So I am shooting for an early release since it's been a while. Holy cow. Okay, I've already got I cannot keep up with these chats at all. All right, give me a second, guys. Let's see. Live chat, slow mode. Boom. All right. Sorry, guys. I hate to turn on slow mode, but I got to do it. But yeah, so as soon as I've already gotten started on the Olympic video, so I'm going to try to maybe have that video done at the earliest tomorrow evening. And if I can pull a rabbit out of the hat and pull that off, I will upload the video tomorrow. Most likely, it'll probably be a Tuesday night release. But I've already made a lot of progress today. I've got the entire video mapped out, so I know the beginning, I know the end, and I think you guys are really going to like the ending. But the cliffhanger I have planned is probably going to make some of you guys go, when's the next episode going to come out? I've got a pretty good cliffhanger in mind. But yeah, everything's going good. So how is everybody tonight? Mr. F, have you ever thought about doing reaction videos? How so? What kind of reaction videos? Let's see. Hello from Arizona, from Jackson. Hi, Jackson. I actually lived in your neck of the woods for a while. I lived in Safford. I worked on a copper mine out there. Let's see. Chast, did you see? Hey, Sam, did you see my video suggestion on Discord? I don't believe so. James, RMS Olympic Games. Yep. Brandon, I know everything about the Titanic. Really, Brandon? Maybe we should do a questionnaire tonight and challenge you guys on some history. Harrison, Historic Travels, you should do a review of the Titanic movie. I would like to do that, but I would have to figure out how to properly handle the copyright thing, you know? That's just what I'm trying to figure out. Let's see. Attack, hi. Nate TV, it's been so long because I have been gone for a while. Okay, welcome back, Nate. What? Almost 50K. I know. We are so close to 50,000 subscribers, guys. I can't even believe it. I cannot believe we are so close to 50,000. Let's see. Nuri, can you make a video on if the Titanic sank during the day? What if the Titanic sank during the day? That would be an interesting concept. I'd have to give that a lot of thought. But if the same weather conditions and everything would have happened during the day, I don't think Titanic would have struck the iceberg. I think they would have noticed the visual phenomenon, the cold water mirage effect, and I think they would have slowed down or stopped. I'd have to think about it for a bit, but definitely a good idea. I saw another video, a video about Charles Lightoller. I've actually got a comment the other day from, and he proposed a very, very interesting concept to think about when you talk about Charles Lightoller. So I'm planning to do something with that very soon. Maritime history. Do the trivia now, please. Maybe in a little bit. Just give me a little bit of time, guys. Let me try to answer some questions. Henry, hey, Sam, can you talk about your trip at the most famous place? The most famous place? Most famous place? What do you mean? I've been to several pretty famous spots from history. Let's see. Second Officer Charles Lightoller, welcome to the stream. I know Titanic history because of Sam. Well, Second Officer Charles Lightoller, you should know the history because you were on board the Titanic. Holy cow. Psych! Wow, we are starting off the super chats with a bang. Holy psych. Oh my gosh, psych. Thanks so much, man. Holy cow, I was not expecting. Seriously, the support you guys give, it blows my mind. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Whew. Okay, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that at all. All right, let's read this. Sam the man, Psych the man. Best wishes for tonight's live stream. Awesome. Question, how should we fans help you celebrate 50,000 subscribers? It's right around the corner. Wow, well-deserved. Congratulations and Godspeed to both you and Rachel. You know, I've been really thinking about to do something special for the 50,000 subscriber milestone. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I do want to do something because 50,000 subscribers is such a, as far like it's such a huge milestone. Now, the way YouTube works is they see it like your first 100 subscribers, your first 1,000, then 10,000, and then YouTube doesn't say anything until you're 100,000. Now, that's not how I see it. I see every 10,000 as a milestone because honestly, it's so much work to do this kind of thing. And I never dreamed when I first started doing this channel that I would get to that point. I never thought it would happen. And I mean, guys, seriously, I could not do this without all of your support. I mean, when I hit my first 100, I was blown away. When I hit my first 200, I was blown away. First 1,000, I never thought that would happen. So, I mean, I'll do something. But seriously, guys, I could not do it without all of you. I could not. And I still honestly can't even believe it's happening. But Psych, thank you so much for the super chat, man. That was amazing. Guys, quick question in the chat. Is the video coming through okay? Is the audio okay? Just, is everything working okay in the stream? Is everything working okay? Let me know in the chat. Let's see. Python. Hi, Sam. What's it like working in a mine? Python, I'm not the best person to ask. I know I don't clarify it very well, but I worked on a surface mine. So I wasn't underground. It was a surface mine. So I worked in the middle of the desert. That's kind of how it all went down. But yeah, it wasn't an underground mine. Harrison, quality is perfect. Dragon it is. Video and audio is good. Okay, but yeah, I worked on a surface copper mine in Arizona, and we were building what's called a leach pad. So it wasn't underground. I was walking in the middle of the desert, sun beating down on us. So if you want to know about a surface mine, I can help you. But underground mine, I don't know anything about that. Let's see. Paul, great video. New Jersey here. Hi, Paul. I was in your neck of the woods not too long ago. Let's see. Love Jurassic. Hey, mate, if you were on the Titanic and you have binoculars, what would you do? Okay, so that's a really good concept. Believe it or not, guys, the binoculars really wouldn't have helped anything on the night the Titanic went down because, there was no moon. And the best way to spot an iceberg when it's just pitch black out there, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been on a cruise ship, but when you go out onto the deck at night and you look out at sea, it's literally just pitch black. And the only real way to spot an iceberg is to spot the silhouette or the outline of the berg against the horizon, against the stars. So you need your whole field of view to be able to look beyond the horizon or look at the horizon. If you've got binoculars, you're very limited into what you can see. So I don't think they would have been using binoculars that night, even if they had them. Bobby 10, thank you so much, man. I've been obsessed with the Titanic since I was 7. Awesome, same here. Over the years, I have learned a lot, but I was wondering, where do you get all your information for your videos? Hope you are having a good day. Bobby, a lot of different sources. You have to remember, I've been studying the Titanic since I was 7 or 8, whenever the James Cameron movie came out. A lot of information I get from books. A lot of information I get from podcasts. So, when I was out on the copper mine, my boss was amazing, and there was a lot of downtime out there. And basically, my job was to make sure the miners were doing their job. So, because we were building what's called a leach pad. So, as long as they weren't, I was there to observe. I was there to observe and make sure they were doing everything based on what the plan said they should do. And they kept me busy, but I still had some downtime. And during that time, I would be listening to podcasts, the Titanic Honor and Glory guys, their live streams. A lot of information, as I've talked about 1,000 times before, is in this book on a sea of glass. As I've said, guys, 1,000 times, this book is the Bible on the Titanic. Anything you want to know about this ship is in this book. This book is amazing. I can't recommend it enough. Hopefully your copy won't have a tea stain. You remember when I spilled tea on my laptop a while back? Well, yeah, I spilled tea there too. So hopefully yours won't have a tea stain. But yeah, it's just a collection of sources and just me listening to videos, documentaries, books, and just studying it throughout my life. That's how I've done it. Jack, hey Sam, how was Florida? It was very good. A little humid and it rained a lot, but it was still good. Nate, Superbook, yep. Andrew, Sam, what is your favorite room on the Titanic? Probably the grand staircase if I had to pick one. Benko, I bought this book after hearing you talk about it. You must have this book. Absolutely. Alice, 5, thank you so much. Evening from London. Evening from West Virginia. I've been to London. I cannot wait to come back. I don't know if you know it, but when I was there, I stayed in a hotel in Canning Town. And I loved going over to Piccadilly Circus. Piccadilly Circus was my favorite. And there was a lot of places. I made it over to Windsor as well. I'm actually going to Belfast next weekend. Nice. Any tips besides the Titanic Museum? What would you look out for on the Nomadic? Alice, I'm not an expert on everything in Belfast. I mean, I would try to go find the shipyard. As far as I know, they still have the cradle where the Titanic was built, as far as I know. Am I right in the chat, guys? I believe they still have that. But yeah, there's the Titanic Museum is definitely what I want to see. The Nomadic is what I want to see. I believe they still have some historical houses, like where the where the shipyard workers like lived and worked and all that. I believe they still have some of those, but I am not an expert on everything in Belfast. If anybody else lives in that area and is close to her, please help her out in the chat. But I cannot wait to come to Belfast myself. I do need to do more research into everything they have there. But the Titanic Museum and the Nomadic were definitely on my list. And I have my little baby Nomadic right here. Say hi, everybody. But yeah, I hope you have a good time. And thank you so much for the super chat. I wish I could be more helpful. Where is the shoot? Oh, shoot. Let me think a second. The royal family's yacht. The name is leaving my mind. The yacht that Queen Elizabeth and her family sailed on. I don't think it's in Belfast. Shoot, I cannot think of the name. I know it. I can't pull it out of my head. What was the name of the ship that the Queen Elizabeth sailed on? Is that in Belfast or is it somewhere else? I can't remember. I don't think it's in Belfast. The Wolf, $10. Thank you so much, The Wolf. Subscribe to him. Also, what is your favorite ship over the Titanic? Or do you mean other than Titanic? And also, what is your favorite ship movie and how do you know so much about ships? Okay, let me, Britannia. Yeah, that's it, Tony. That's exactly what I was thinking of, Britannia. I knew it sounded like Britannic. I just could not think of the name. But yeah, they, where is that ship? Where is the Britannia? Because I believe it's a museum now. Okay, let me get back to that question. $10. All right. Subscribe to him. Thank you very much. Also, what is your favorite ship over the Titanic or other? Okay. You said other than. Okay. Oh, that's easy. My favorite ship other than Titanic is this girl right here. The Queen Mary. That is my favorite ship other than the Titanic. I really need to find a place to hang this up. But yeah, this is my favorite ship because I have my own small connection to it. I've talked about that before and other streams I've talked about that. But yeah, a man who was like my grandfather, he sailed on that ship during World War II. And yeah, the Queen Mary is definitely the second ship in my heart. And favorite ship, and how do you know so much about ships? And wait, hang on. What's your favorite? The Titanic. Also, what is your favorite ship movie? Oh, favorite ship movie? Does Pirates of the Caribbean count? Titanic, of course. Titanic is a good one. Poseidon, I really like. The historical documentary or the historical movie on the the history movie on the Hunley is really good. The Civil War submarine, that's an interesting one. Ghost Ship is really good. There's several. And there was one more part to that question. And how do you know so much about ships? I answered that earlier, just talking about I just read books, I listen to podcasts, just ocean liners are my thing. I've always been interested in it. And that's why I love the Titanic, and that love has carried me over to other ocean liners because that's one thing you have to think about. A lot of us got into ships because of this girl right here. The Titanic is what that's exactly what happens. Something happens and I drop something. But yeah, I saved it. But yeah, this ship is what got me initially interested in ships. And then my love for the Titanic carried over to help me learn about other ships like the Lusitania, the Olympic, the Britannic, just to name a few, And that's why I learned so much about them, was just because Titanic sparked my interest in maritime history. Okay, I got to get caught up on these questions. But great question, by the way. Okay, Andrew, 5, thank you so much. Question, okay. Could there have been a small steam buildup in the pipes when the Titanic broke in half? Not an explosion, but a pop from inside. I'd say possible. I think a small boiler explosion could have been responsible for the collapse of the second funnel. Because Jack Thayer said that the second funnel, when it went down, it went up in a shower of sparks and fire. Now, I don't mean the entire funnel exploded, but he said there was a small pop or a small explosion near the base of the funnel, I believe. And I think that could have been from a boiler explosion, or I've also heard it could have been coal dust igniting, which is also possible. But yeah, I do think it's possible there could have been some kind of a steam buildup around the area where the break happened. But I don't think that caused the ship to break. I mean, you have to think about how much stress was on the hull at the moment of the breakup. You know, you got the dead weight of the bow, the buoyancy of the stern. You've got this one little area right here that's trying to hold the two together. The stern's going up. I mean, just think about the strain that this part of the ship structure was under. I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised she lasted as long as she did. Okay, I got to try to get through these questions. I don't want to get too far behind. Okay, we got that one. All right. Great question, by the way. A lot of good questions. JP5, thank you so much, but no question. JP, wish you would have asked the question, man. Phil 5, thank you so much. Again, no question. Guys, like, I want to answer your guys' questions, but thank you so much for the super chat. And Justin 10, thank you so much. Hope all is well. I'm doing pretty good. I hope all is well with you, Justin. Can you explain what the pipes that were coming up from the top of the deck of the Titanic were for? And do you think the fire sank the ship rather? Oh, gosh. Okay. When you're talking about pipes, I'm not 100% certain what you are meaning, but you're probably referring to like air vents and ducts and stuff like that. But you also have to remember that the fourth funnel was used to, you know, circulate air throughout the ship and release steam. You know, you have to think about that. But when it comes to what pipes you're talking about, I'm not sure. But I think a lot of them were just, you know, to circulate air within the ship. And do you think the fire sank the ship rather than the iceberg doing damage? Okay, Justin. I'm going to give you the real quick version about the coal fire, okay? The coal fire did not sink the Titanic. The coal fire had nothing to do with that. And honestly, I think the coal fire kept the ship from sinking for a little while. Because as the Titanic was steaming, the people on the ship moved the coal from the starboard side to the port side, because that's how they had to put out fires back then. The coal fire was burning in the coal bunker or boiler room 6 and 5. I think it was more in 5. But what they had to do, they had to move the coal from the starboard side where it was burning and move it to the port side coal bunker and then douse the fire as they went, which is what they did. Coal fires were not uncommon in 1912. They happened. Now, as the Titanic was steaming along and they were moving the coal and putting out the fire, the ship had a very slight list to port, because the ship basically had in each coal bunker, there was 300 tons of coal. So 300 tons of coal on the port, 300 tons on the starboard. And when they moved all the coal from the starboard coal bunker to the port, they essentially moved 300 tons of coal from the right side to the left side of the ship. And this caused the Titanic to have a slight list to port as she was sailing along. She struck the berg on the starboard side. And then as the water was coming in, because the coal was on the port side, I think the coal acted as a counterbalance, keeping the Titanic from capsizing. Because not long after the ship hit the berg, the Titanic's port list stabilized. So that's what happened there. And they ran a computer simulation to see how quickly the Titanic would have went down. And initially, when they ran the simulation, they thought the Titanic should have sunk in about an hour, hour and a half, and capsized. And they're like, why is it doing that? Because we know it didn't do that. But then they put in the weight difference from the coal fire. Like, did you calculate for that? They didn't initially, and then they did later. And then the Titanic took about 2.5, 3 hours to sink. So I think the coal fire kept the Titanic from capsizing and kept the ship stable so they could launch the lifeboats. If that coal fire hadn't happened, I think it's very possible that maybe not even one lifeboat would have gotten off the Titanic, because you have to remember it took them an hour to get the first lifeboat off. So, all right, okay, let's jump on, because that explanation, I lost some of the questions. Let's go back. Okay. All right, Justin, I got that one. Good. All right, let's scroll down. Okay. Hold on a second, guys. I forgot to grab something. All right, I forgot to grab that. Okay. All right, Phil's next. 5. Thank you so much, Phil. What would the Titanic's future hold if it never hit the iceberg? Do you think it would have been used in the war like Britannic? Absolutely. I don't know if she would have been a troop ship or a hospital ship, but she most definitely would have been used in the war. And it all depends on if she would have survived the war or not. And thank you for the 5. And if she had survived the war, I say she would have carried out her career as a passenger liner. And I think she would have met the same fate as her sister ship Olympic and got scrapped in the 1930s. I just saw a question from Paul. Are there any lifeboats remaining? we don't really know for sure because as far as I know, I think all the Titanic's lifeboats have been lost to history. Okay, Jeremy, 5. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Let me mute my phone. There we go. Question, okay. Do you think the passengers on the Titanic could have used inflatable lifeboats? Do ships even have those? This is a crazy question. Well, there's no such thing as a crazy question. And to be honest, I'm not sure they even had inflatable boats back then. I really don't know the answer to that question. Does hang on a second. Let me do a quick. When were inflatable boats? Let's see. Do a quick Google. Let's see. 1839. They tested the first inflatable pontoons. Interesting. Riverboats. Maybe, but I don't know how that would have went down. That's something I've never thought about before, and I do need to think about that. You know, I do believe that modern ships have inflatable boats, like stuff that hits the water, they just automatically inflate, but that's modern technology. But as far as in the early 1900s, I don't know how that whole thing would have went down. It's an interesting idea, though. I'd have to do some research into that, but in a sinking situation, I can't imagine a bunch of guys trying to blow up these life rafts and whatever, but that's an interesting idea. I'd have to do some more research into that, but very, very interesting question. Thank you so much for that. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Okay, there's that one. I got to make sure I keep up. All right, JP. There is a picture of an iceberg. Some say it was the iceberg that hit the Titanic. What do you think? I've heard mixed things about that. I heard that there is there one or two pictures? I can't think right exactly what it is. But there is one picture where they say it has paint on it. But the author of On a Sea of Glass, they were taught it. And they said that the iceberg that the Titanic hit, the top of the berg went above the bridge. It went above the bridge. And it all depends on the picture. I'd have to see them, and I can't remember off the top of my head which one they think is the most accurate. But there is one that they said was a better candidate than the other. I can't remember if that was the one that they said had paint on it or not. But I've seen those pictures, and I can't tell if there's paint on it. But who knows for sure? That's a very interesting question. They did say that the iceberg went above the bridge and the Rock of Gibraltar. Rock of Gibraltar. Am I thinking of that right? They said it looked like the Rock of Gibraltar. I think I'm saying that right. Rock of something. It was Rock of something. But yeah, they said that one was the most candidate, whichever one that was. If I'm getting that name wrong, let me know. But it's something like that. Whatever rock that they said the berg looked like. Let me know in the chat if I'm on the right track with that. Okay, let me think here. Looking for the next super chat. These super chats, they're disappearing faster than I can keep up with them. Okay, here we go. Connor. Hi, Connor. 5. Thank you so much, Connor. What if the Titanic had the same safety features as Britannic? Would it have survived or just taken longer to sink? No, she would have made it. If the Titanic had the exact same safety features as Britannic, because when the Titanic hit the iceberg, 6 watertight compartments were opened up. The Britannic was designed to stay afloat with 6 compartments open if the ship remained still. You know, the Britannic had to remain stationary for 6 watertight compartments were compromised. The ship could float. But what doomed Britannic, and my poor little mess, what doomed Britannic was the fact that all the porthole windows were open, you know, because the bow went down and then the ship continued on because the ship was moving as well. With those porthole windows open, the water could easily spill over the tops of the bulkheads, and we had another Titanic scenario just faster. But you got to remember, Britannic's sinking scenario and Titanic's were very different. It was so cold around the Titanic that night that I highly doubt that many porthole windows would have been open. Now, I think it would have been possible for the Titanic to stay afloat. Now, I don't know if they could have kept her afloat indefinitely with 6 compartments breached, but maybe they could have found a way. I mean, as long as the 6 were breached, if they kept the ship stable and not moving, maybe they could have pumped the water out. Maybe they could have done something to shore her up. Because with 6 compartments opened, Britannic could stay afloat as long as it remained motionless. So yes, Titanic could have made it in those circumstances, most likely, unless something else happened. Sebastian 3, can you do stuff on World War I? It's on the list. As far as World War I goes, the one big thing that I want to do is the Christmas Eve ceasefire. Yeah, there was the armies, they were fighting in no man's land. And then on Christmas Eve, I forget the year, but there was a Christmas Day ceasefire where both sides came out. They walked out on the no man's land. World War I Christmas truce. Let me see when this happened. It was the Christmas truce of 1914. I mean, guys, can you imagine what that must have been like? I mean, I can't even to for both sides to come out in the no man's land, you know, have Christmas together, shake hands, talk, and then at the end of it, they go back into their trenches, and then the next day they start shooting at each other. I mean, I can't even imagine what that would have been like. I can't. 1914, yeah. Psych, yep, Christmas Eve ceasefire. Just remembered this. It's very sad. And there's a really good documentary. Hang on a second, guys. I'm going to post a link for you. If you get a chance, hang on. If you get a chance, go on to click this link that I'm about to send you. It's an absolutely unbelievable film that recreates the Christmas Day ceasefire. I'm posting the link right now. So definitely check that out because it's so well done. And listen, war is terrible, guys. War is just terrible. All right, let me think here. Okay, I see that one. Okay, the next 5 is from Alan. Thank you, Alan. Hey, Sam, glad you had a vacation. You deserve it. Thanks, Alan. It's a question. What do you think if Titanic charted off course down towards the New Jersey area? Okay, wait. Hey, Sam, glad you had a vacation. You deserve it. Thank you. A question. What do you think if Titanic charted off course down towards New Jersey area? Well, if she went to New Jersey, I don't think that would have changed her course all too much. Can ships get down that? Can ships dock over there? I'm sure they can. But I'm not, yeah. I mean, you're still in the New York area, so I don't think it would have changed anything all that much. Funny question, but thank you for the super chat. Let's see. X Team, $2. Thank you. If she never sank, would ships be as safe as now? Yes. Here's what I think. If the Titanic would have never sunk, I think a Titanic-level disaster would have happened at some point that would have gotten all the maritime regulations to change. I think that would have happened. It may not have been a story as famous as Titanic, but something would have happened at some point to get the regulations updated. That's honestly what I would think. And I think ships today would be just as safe as they always were. But it would have been something else. Something else would have happened if the Titanic had not went down. History Master, hey Sam, did the band really play till the end? And if they did they play? And if they did they play Near My God to Thee? Also, you're very good on the violin. Thanks, History. I can't believe you saw that. That was forever ago. Yes, it's most likely that they did play Near My God to Thee. Yeah, so they did play up until the very end. There is some debate as to exactly how long they played, and there was also the debate of what tune they played. You know, at the end, you know, it was Near My God to Thee, and what was that other song? Was it Autumn? I'm drawing a blank of what they say the other song was that the band played that night. But there was a lot of debate about that. But they landed on Near My God to Thee because there is testimony that said they did play. Although one thing that they did find that I did find pretty interesting was it seems that a lot of depictions say that the band played Autumn. Okay, was it Autumn? Am I thinking of that right? Was that the other song that they said? But a lot of people said that the band has always been depicted playing on the ship's starboard side. That's where people always thought the band was playing. But according to the author of On a Sea of Glass and everything, they were talking about how all the survivors testified that they heard the band playing were on the ship's port side. They were on the ship's port side that heard it. So it looks like the band was on the Titanic's. I got that mixed up. They thought they were on the port side, but they were actually on the starboard side. I believe that's right. Yeah, I think I got that flipped. Yeah. So the band was on the starboard side, but all depictions say they were on the port side. But yeah, I think they did play Near My God to Thee. I think all that is very accurate. And I believe they stopped right as the bridge was going under. I believe that's when they stopped. Okay, let's catch up on the questions here. Swordmaster 20, thanks so much, man. If the Titanic survived, what do you think would have been the most famous shipwreck? Ooh. If the Titanic would have survived, what do I think would have been the most famous shipwreck? You know, if I had to guess, probably the Lusitania. I don't know if the Lusitania would have been as famous as Titanic, but I think instead of there being one ship that everybody knows about, and that's Titanic, I think there would be more distinction between the ships and what region they sank in. You know, I think Lusitania would be the shipwreck of the Atlantic. I think the Edmund Fitzgerald would be the shipwreck of the Great Lakes. You know what I mean? I think depending on where you are, you know, and in a way we kind of already have that. But still, when most people think of shipwrecks, they think of Titanic. I don't know if there would be one shipwreck that would have that definition. Am I making sense? Let's see. Justin, 5. If you knew it was going to sink, but had a chance to go back in time and actually experience it, then be one of the first to get on a lifeboat, would you do it? No, I don't think I would. If I had a chance to go and see, and go and study and go see the Titanic, before she left or when she was at sea, I would probably go and do that. But I mean, as interested as I am in the Titanic, you have to remember it is a tragedy, and it was a horrible event to witness, and what these people went through. And no, I would not want to go and watch that. And also, I wouldn't want to take a spot in a lifeboat. Even if I was guaranteed to survive, I wouldn't want to go through that. I would not. Tina, 5. Hello, thank you so much. Hey, Sam, with the latest expedition to the Titanic, were they able to get the radio, and did they learn anything else about the ship? Tina, as far as I know, I believe it was Park Stevenson who said that they have abandoned their plans to go and get the radio for the time being. They would like to go and get it, but COVID-19 really affected everything, and right now they don't have any plans to go and do it. I believe this expedition is just to go and study the wreck and survey it. If they do have an objective that I don't know about, please let me know in the chat. But I did see one picture that they posted of the Titanic's bow. That's all I've seen. I've seen a few other pictures of the debris field, but as far as the ship, I've only seen the bow. And it looks like it's still in good shape, relatively speaking. It does look like the Titanic's bow is still in more or less good condition. It hasn't collapsed or anything. Okay, let me see here. Ghost 2, thank you so much. What do you think of the Titanic 2, the new ship? I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of them building a new Titanic, because you have to remember the Titanic is a dinghy by modern day standards. It's a very small ship. I'm more pro for them to actually build a museum and have it be, a recreation of the real ship, because you got to remember, if they build Titanic 2, it just looks like the Titanic 2 from the outside and maybe has some interior spaces that look like it, but it's not the Titanic 2. If they rebuilt the Titanic exactly as it was 109 years ago, it wouldn't be legal to sail on her. So they're basically just building a cruise ship and making it look like Titanic, and I don't like that idea. It's a tragedy. It's a famous shipwreck, and it needs to be treated with respect. And I feel like if they build a cruise ship that looks like Titanic, they're trying to capitalize on the name. Now, if they build a building that looks like it and keep it true to history and make it like a museum and it tell the story of the Titanic, I'm very pro that. But no, I don't think it's a good idea for them to build a new Titanic 2. I don't like that at all. Tumbo, $2, thank you. What dead person on the Titanic would you interview? Thomas Andrews, because he was the guy who built the Titanic, plain and simple. I would love to sit at a table with Thomas Andrews. And when it comes to people throughout history, I would love to sit at a table with and talk to Churchill, Winston Churchill. I would love to sit at a table and talk to Winston Churchill. That would be so cool. Trey, 10, thank you so much. Hey, Sam, how do you think Mr. Andrews died on the Titanic? If you're referring to Thomas Andrews, I believe what they were talking about, that Thomas Andrews, there's a most of the time whenever you see what happened to Thomas Andrews, in A Night to Remember, they talk about it. In the James Cameron movie, they depict it. Most of the time, they say that Thomas Andrews was in the first class smoking room, standing in front of a fireplace, looking at a painting, and he was seen right as the beginning of the end of the Titanic was beginning, like the final plunge was beginning. Now, here's a problem with that. The person who said that they saw Andrews in there, he left the ship way before he could have seen Andrews at that time. So that doesn't really pan out. But there's other testimony that Thomas Andrews was last reported on the bridge. I believe it was the port bridge wing. And he was last seen there as the Titanic, just pretend my hand's the water. He was last seen as the Titanic's bridge was beginning to dip beneath the surface. And it was reported that Captain Smith said to Thomas Andrews, "We cannot stay any longer. She's going." So Thomas Andrews and Captain Smith were last reported on the Titanic's port side bridge wing. As the final plunge was going on, they jumped over the bridge railing as the ship was beginning to take her final plunge. And that is the last time that I believe, I think that's what happened to Andrews. He died in the water. Stream is lagging. Guys, how's the stream quality? Are we doing okay? Is the stream okay, guys? Testing. How's the stream? We got a couple more super chats. I will get to those in just a second. We got one more from the Wolf. I'll answer that in a second. I just need to see. Is the stream okay, guys? I'm looking at the live chat. I'm not looking at the super chat. Is the stream okay? Quality, video, how's everything? No lag, no, it's fine. Good. Okay, we're good. All right, cool. Jason, that's crazy. Yeah, there's one thing that you learn about Titanic when you it blurs up. I'm not sure why the stream is doing that. Good now, great. Okay. All right, I'll keep an eye on it, guys. Just let me know if it slows down. But that's the thing about Titanic is there's so much myth and speculation, like where the story changes over time. So you have to be careful separating fact from fiction, and you really have to look at the evidence to figure out exactly what happened. And it's crazy when you really look into what really happened that night. It's crazy. Okay, let's get back to that super chat. The Wolf, $10. Thank you. All right. My favorite ship is the Britannic. Awesome. Good choice. And it's also my favorite movie. I have never seen it. Also, have a second question. How many more years do you think the Titanic will be till it disappears forever? I don't know if the Titanic would ever completely disappear because I believe the propellers will be there for a long time. And I believe that there will still be fragments of it around for a long time. But as far as how much longer does the ship have before it goes through like a structural collapse, it'll be a very gradual thing. The ship will just slowly begin to rot away. I think the back part, like where the Titanic's bow is, I think the back part that was most damaged in the breakup, I think that'll erode first. And then I think the breakup will just move forward toward the bow because the bow section's in the best shape. So I think it'll just kind of progress forward, and then the structure of the ship will just kind of, let me just use my hands here. So the back of my hand's the bow, the front of my hand's the stern, or the breakup point. I think the ship will just slowly start to collapse in on itself. The back will touch the seafloor first, and then the ship will just kind of lay down like that. That's what I think will happen. That is what I think will happen to the Titanic. Okay, Love Monkey, 10, thank you so much. Sam, this is my Sunday evening tradition. Awesome, thank you. Question, have you ever met Robert Ballard? No, and I would love to. I would love to meet Robert Ballard. I would love to meet all those guys. I really want to meet Ken Marshall. I really want to meet him. He did the artwork on the Titanic. And a lot of the paintings and drawings you've seen of the Titanic are stuff done by him. I would love to meet him. I did one quick message with Park Stevenson. I would love to meet and talk to those guys. I really would. Robert Ballard, me and him I could talk to him all day. I really could. But yeah, I would love to meet them someday. Chippers 5, thank you. How was conditions on Carpathia after picking Titanic survivors? Also saw Rachel's video on your Christmas present. Do you have much memorabilia? As far as Titanic memorabilia, I have a piece of coal. And I have a few little things, but nothing major. Let me hang on. What else? How were the conditions on the Carpathia picking up the Titanic survivors? I believe they were okay for what was going on. I don't remember hearing anything like it was brutal on board or anything. But I'd say it was still rough, but it wasn't awful. Let's see. Also saw Rachel's video on your Christmas present. Do you have much memorabilia? Just that Olympic stuff. The Olympic stuff is that's my treasure stuff. The coal from Titanic and that the Olympic artifacts are my favorite items from the shipwreck. I could show you guys that tonight if you guys want to see it again. Okay. Okay. I'll get to that in a second. I'll get to that in a second. Oh, holy cow. Jonathan. Okay. All right. I'll get to that in a second. Whew. Okay. I was not expecting that. Okay. All right. That's the next super chat. Jonathan. Seriously, man. I really don't know what to say, man. Jonathan, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you so much, man. Jonathan, thank you so much. I have no words to describe how much I appreciate what you've done. Jonathan, just thank you, man. I mean, seriously, just thank you so much. Join my Discord. I really want to talk to you, man. Jonathan, just thanks, man. I mean, I can't even put into word how much that means. Thank you. Good evening, Sam. Good evening, Jonathan. I hope you're well. Question for you. If you could have a one-on-one interview with a maritime disaster survivor, who would it be and why? I personally would have a sit down with Violet Jessup. Uh, uh, okay. Thanks, Jonathan. Okay, so if I could sit down with one survivor, I would like to talk to Jack Thayer. Jack Thayer's story with Milton Long. That's a crazy one. You know, for those of you who don't know, Jack Thayer was on board the Titanic, and he was on board with his family, and he was hanging out with a buddy of his, a shipboard acquaintance named Milton Long. And throughout the entire sinking, Jack Thayer got separated from his family, and he spent the entire rest of the sinking, you know, trying to find each other. They were trying, like the dad was trying to find him, and Jack Thayer was trying to find his dad, and they never found each other. I mean, that's such a heartbreaking story, and he did end up surviving the night. So basically, what happened as Jack Thayer was getting ready to leave the Titanic, I don't know exactly where he was. I think he was somewhere near the third funnel. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me. But anyway, as the Titanic was beginning her plunge, Jack Thayer and Milton Long were looking over the side, and they were both going to jump and swim for it together. And Milton Long said to Jack Thayer, "Are you coming? Are you coming?" And Jack Thayer said, "I will be right with you." Milton Long jumped into the ocean, and Jack Thayer never saw him again. Jack jumped into the ocean right after Milton Long, like 10 seconds later or something. And that difference in jumps meant the difference between Milton Long or getting sucked down with the Titanic or being washed out in the backwash. And it's believed that Milton Long got sucked down into the Titanic, and then the backwash pushed Jack out. And that's how he ended up surviving. And that's such a crazy story. And I would like to talk to him. And I would also like to talk to, honestly, Jack Thayer's story is probably one of the most heartbreaking stories from the entire Titanic disaster. Now that I'm really thinking about it, that's so sad. But I would also like to talk to Lawrence Beasley. Lawrence Beasley survived, right? Yeah, I believe he did. But yeah, he's somebody else who I would like to talk to because he was really studying the Titanic sinking. And a lot of the information we got from the Titanic was from what he observed. Lawrence Beasley did survive, right? He had to because we wouldn't know so much. Lawrence Beasley, Titanic. Lawrence Beasley, RMS, Titanic, died in 1967. Yeah, he did survive. Okay, yeah, he did survive. But yeah, he's somebody else I would like to talk to just because of his observations on the ship throughout the sinking. Okay, all right, let's get back to the questions. Jonathan, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I still can't get over that. That's the highest super chat I've ever gotten. Like, just Jonathan, thank you. You already do so much, man. I mean, this is just above and beyond. Thank you. Tumbo, $2. Thank you, Tumbo. 3 things would love to see recovered from the Titanic. Okay, I would. If they recover anything from inside the ship, it's got to be done respectfully. You know, I don't want them to go in and wreck the ship by getting anything. But 3 things. I would like for them to get the radio or whatever's left of it. I would also like for them to recover the clock. So the room in the Titanic movie, Rose's Suite, that was based on the suite of Isidore and Ida Strauss. And the room is gone. The room is basically destroyed. Go back and watch my video on like the craziest or unbelievable discoveries within the Titanic. And you'll see that Isidore and Ida Strauss's room is destroyed, but there's a fireplace that is still intact. And sitting right on top of the fireplace is the clock on the mantle. You see it in the James Cameron movie, and it is still there on the wreck today. I would love for them to go in and get that clock and bring it up. But now the clock isn't sitting there by gravity. It was bolted down to the fireplace. That's why it's still there. But it looks like the glass on the clock is all gunked up, but it looks like you can just barely see the minute hand. And it looks like, to me, it's on the 4. I drew it out. It looks like to me. So it looks like to me that clock is stopped at 2:20, which if it is, that would be amazing. I wish they would recover that. I would love to see that. And as far as something else that they could recover, you know, I'd have to think about that a little bit. Maybe some tile from the Turkish bath. I'd have to think about it a little bit, you know. But those are the 2 things that I would love to see the most. But I'd have to think about another one. But if I was picking 2 things off the top of my head, that's what I would like. Okay, let's get back to some of these super chats here. Great question, by the way. But go back and watch that video if you would like to see that. Let's go. All right. Grand Hampa, 10. Thank you so much. If you could go back in time and were able to convince all that it was going to sink immediately, would it be possible to get most people off, overload the boats, build rafts, love the street? Thanks, Grand Hampa. If you go back in time and were able to convince all that it was going to sink immediately, would it be possible? Okay, so the biggest delay is A, figuring out that it's going to sink, but assuming they know it's going to sink immediately, it would still take time to get the lifeboats launched. So assuming they could fill all the lifeboats to capacity, what about the people that would be left on board? They would have to, I don't think you could get everybody off, but if there was a coordinated effort, you have to think about how much work, though, it is for the officers to launch the lifeboats, because that's not a simple task. You also have to think about the engineers working to keep the power on, and you also got to think about the Marconi guys transmitting the ship's distress call. There would have to be a coordinated effort in ripping off the ship's doors, like for the staterooms, getting wood from wherever you could on the ship. And you also have to make sure the wood stays out of the water. You know, like that's the biggest problem with throwing deck chairs overboard is when you have a human body on them, it's going to go under. It may bob on the surface, but you're still going to be in the water. The trick to survive is to get out of the water. You've got to get out of the water. So the best idea that I can come up with is to take a door or something and maybe find some way to tie life rafts underneath it to give it a little bit more buoyancy. But that's easier said than done under those circumstances. So if they were responding immediately, more people could survive, but I don't think it would be possible to save everyone. That's my thought. Okay. Okay, that was that one. Okay, 10. Okay, Attack, awesome. 5, thank you so much. Have you seen A Night to Remember? Most of it, but I have not watched it from start to finish. And if so, what did you think? It's a good movie from what I've seen. I've seen most of the sinking stuff, and I did sit down to watch it, like from start to finish. And then something happened, and I got pulled away, which can happen. But I need to sit down and actually watch the film from start to finish. But the sinking stuff is pretty good from everything that I've seen of it. You know, it's pretty accurate. The biggest thing that I can think of off the top of my head that they got wrong is the ship splitting. And at the very beginning, they didn't get the split. And at the very beginning of the movie, they christened the ship by throwing a bottle of wine or something against the hull. And that isn't, the White Star Line didn't do that. You know, the White Star Line didn't christen their ships like that. So that's not accurate. But I mean, overall for the 50s, it's pretty good. And, you know, they did have Titanic survivors on the set that night. You know, they had Titanic survivors there to help, you know, figure out the movie. So I think for what it is, it's really good. Just remember, it was done in the 50s. So there are some details wrong, but overall, it's very good. It definitely does have the best depiction of Charles Yelkin, the world's most famous Titanic survivor. It definitely has the best depiction of him. Charles Yelkin. Guys, do you guys want me to remaster Charles Yelkin? The video I did on him was way at the beginning of my channel, and I could do that story again and do it so much better. Would you guys like me to do a remaster? That's the only reason I haven't done it yet is because I already did it. But would you guys like to see a brand new Charles Yelkin video? Would you guys like that? Let me know in the chat. And I believe I got them all. Yes. Okay. We're all caught up on all the super chats. Okay. All right. Yes. All right. I'll add that to the list. I might do that this weekend, actually. So what I'm going to be doing for the future is until Olympics done, I'm going to do one video on Olympic and one video on something else. So whether it be Titanic or another ship, I'm going to deviate between the two. So I'm working on Olympic part 3. Then after that, I'm going to be probably a Titanic video. I have a few Titanic ideas. And then I'm just going to jump back and forth. That's how I'm going to be doing it. I saw a question like, there was a question that I wanted to read, and now I lost it. There it is. AJ. The ship didn't break in A Night to Remember because nobody knew the ship broke until 1985. AJ, that is not true. Because if you go back and look at the testimony, there is so much more testimony of people saying it broke. It broke. There's so much more testimony. And what they did during the inquiry is they decided on the testimony of, of Lightoller and Archibald Gracie. But you have to remember, those two said the ship didn't break. But what you have to remember, they weren't in a position to see what the stern was doing, because Lightoller was fighting for his life around the Titanic's bow section, and Gracie was fighting for his life around the grand staircase. So these guys weren't in a position to see what the stern was doing. But for some reason, they went with their testimony over everybody else who said it broke. And even in the, there was a video, I believe it was a Titanic convention in the 70s, where a Titanic survivor was up on stage talking in a mic. And I cannot remember who said this, but it was in a Titanic, I believe it was in one of James Cameron documentaries. It was another Titanic expert. Anyway, so she was up there talking in the mic, and she said, you know, the Titanic had 4 funnels, and you know the Titanic broke in half. And then some young guy in his 20s or 30s got up and went up on stage and blocked them and interrupted her and said, the Titanic did not break. It was just your perception because, you know, the funnel fell. And I'm like, she should have gotten up and yelled at him and said, were you there? You know, it's like this whole, they wanted to romanticize Titanic and make her be on the bottom of the ocean and make the public think of her in this pristine condition at the bottom of the ocean. You know, that's what the White Star Line, everybody wanted to think. Because if it got around that the ship broke, I think that would call into question the structural integrity of their ships. And they did change the expansion joint design with the Britannic, if that says anything, which I did see a documentary about that. So it's theorized that the White Star Line may have thought the expansion joint had something to do with the ship splitting. So there's that whole story as well. But yeah, that's what it is. That's what happened. Okay, back to the super chats. I believe I want to make sure I didn't miss any while I was talking. I did not. Okay, let's get back to these. James 10, thank you so much. My great-great-grand-uncle was on the Titanic. His name was Jack Foley, and he was a storekeeper on the Titanic. He was on Lifeboat 4 and saved over 50. Really? Let me see here. Jack. Let me see here if I can find him. Jack. Oh, wow. Wait. I'm finding a John. Oh, John, better known. Okay, here he is. He's on Encyclopedia Titanica. John Foley. Jack was born. He was son. Did he pass away in the sinking? This is interesting. And you're related to him? Seriously? I don't see John Foley. Here we go. Born 1865 and died in 1934. Wow. So he survived the evening. That's crazy. Oh, you just said that. He's on lifeboat number 4. I said that earlier. Yeah, and he saved her 50 people. That's crazy. Okay, I'm adding that to the list right now because I have never heard of him before, and we need to do some more videos on people that are not that well known. I would love to do more on that. So I'm going to add that to the list. Wait, what happened here? There we go. I'm adding that to the list right now. John. That's awesome that you're related to him. That's incredible. I mean, I would love to meet some more relatives of Titanic survivors. That would be so cool. But honestly, hey, thanks for the super chat and thanks for sharing that. That's an incredible story. I'm definitely going to do some research. And let's see. Maybe I'll get a video about him out in the near future. What was your name again? James. Okay, I'm going to copy that over. And I'm going to put that into the notes. That is your name. James. Okay, I'm going to definitely give you a huge shout out when I get to that video. All right, let's continue on. What was the next super chat? Let's see. Ronnie, 5. Thank you so much, Ronnie. There was an image of HMT Titanic of an artist on Reddit recently. It's easy to Google. Feels weird. There was an image of HMT Titanic. His Majesty Troop Titanic? Oh, an artist did it on Reddit. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. So he did like an artist rendition. That's crazy. I'll have to look that up. Thank you so much for letting me know, Ronnie. Thank you for the 5. Everyone, whoo! Seriously, guys, I can't even. Okay, I need a drink. I can't. Oh my gosh. Psych. Thank you so much. Okay, guys. Okay, thank you so much, Psych. 400. Oh my gosh. Okay, seriously, I can't get over that. I cannot get over that. all you guys doing these super chats and these crazy, like, just guys, thank you so much. I don't even know how to properly thank you guys for this. I honestly have no idea. Just guys, thank you so much from the. It's not enough. I feel like I feel like me thanking you guys like this isn't enough. Guys, it's just. I mean, just thank you guys. Just from the bottom of my heart, thank you, because I really could not do this without all of your guys' support, and just it means more than you guys could ever know. It really does, and just we need to talk. Just guys, please come into my Discord. Please talk to me through there, because I really do need to talk to you guys. Just thank you guys so much, Jonathan, Psych, all you guys. Just I really want to talk to you guys personally. Please come into my Discord. I really want to talk to you guys. Sam, I love you. And I'm a chick, by the way, not a man. Okay, sorry, Psych, but thank you. Lol. And I'm just sending you this super chat to top Jonathan. Thank you. Love you. Love Jonathan. Keep up the great work, Sam. Keep going. You're one of a kind. And what the heck? You only live once. Take care, everyone. Just seriously, guys, just thank you. I mean, just from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I really can't thank you guys enough. I really can't. Okay. All right. Whew. All right. Let's try to keep going. Let's try to keep going. I can't think right now. All right. Okay. All right. Meditate. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Cody 10. Thank you so much. Awesome channel and videos. Thank you so much. I read the book by Lawrence Beasley. A dedicated video about him would be super cool. What do you think? He wrote a dedicated book, huh? I never knew that. Lawrence Beasley wrote a book. Okay, I'm going to look that up as soon as the stream is over. I cannot believe I didn't realize that. But okay, I'm going to look that up as soon as I can. Thank you for telling me about that. How did I not know that he wrote a book about it? But a dedicated video about him would be super cool. What do you think? It's definitely on the list. I'm adding that right now. Lawrence Beasley, Titanic. Thank you so much for that, by the way. And your name is Cody. Thank you so much, Cody. It's on the list. I will give you a shout out when I can. Thank you, Cody. And Alan, $5. Thank you so much, Alan. Hi, Sam. Did you know if White Star Line used the same system? Did you know if the White Star Line used the same system to launch lifeboats like the HMHS Britannic? Okay. Hey, Sam. Did you know if the White Star Line used the same system to launch lifeboats like the HMHS Britannic Big Davits? I don't know if we're talking about. I don't know if you're talking about on the Titanic, because they didn't have those on Titanic. But if you mean they used them after Britannic, I believe they had them on some ships, but it wasn't widespread. You know, they didn't take it like it wasn't used. It wasn't used like big time over all these other ships, but I know it was used to some extent. But if they had those davits on Titanic, they definitely could have launched all the lifeboats in time, because you got to remember when the Britannic started to sink, you know, they didn't start launching the lifeboats for about 20, 30 minutes, 25 minutes after the mine detonation. And the Britannic only lasted 55 minutes after the mine went off. So in that little amount of time, they were able to get as many lifeboats as they needed to get all the people off as they could, you know, because I believe only 32 people died when the Britannic went down. Double check me, guys. Was it 32 people? I believe it was 32 people that died on the Britannic. But most of them were killed from the mine detonation and other means. It wasn't due to the fact that they were stuck inside the ship, you know. So, but yeah, I think if more ships would have had them, they would have had an easier time launching lifeboats. Whew. I'm still not over those super chats. I'm like, my hands are numb. Or my hands are shaking. I can't get over that. Was it 30? Okay. 30. Okay. 30. I thought it was 32, but okay. 30. All right. Close. Let me see here. Okay, I got that. Sorry, guys, that's quiet. I'm double checking the super chats, making sure I didn't miss anything. Harry 5. Thank you, Harry. Are you looking forward to the Titanic Honor and Glory? Did I miss one? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Pen Prop. I got you. Clear. There's somebody in the chat who's helping me moderate and making sure I hit the super chats named Pen Prop. I get text to let them know that they let me know if I missed something. Harry 5. Are you looking forward to the Titanic Honor and Glory? Absolutely. And have you played Britannic Patroness of the Mediterranean? Yes, I have, and I used it to help do my sinking video for my Story of the Britannic video that's on my channel. I used it for that. But yes, and I am looking forward to Titanic Honor and Glory. I hope it gets released, and I hope there aren't any issues with it. And yeah, I hope everything works out. And Britannic game is absolutely amazing. CRS, love your positivity. Thank you, CRS. James 10, thank you. Yeah, his name was John Foley, better known as Jack Foley. He helped people from the overturned lifeboat. John Jacob Astor talked to him, saying, please, there's life just as much as ours to my relative. Like, okay. He helped people from the overturned lifeboat. John Jacob Astor talked to him, saying, please, their life just as much as ours to my relative. Huh. That's really cool. That's really crazy. I definitely plan to research him a little bit more. I cannot believe I've never heard of him. But there's a lot of people on the Titanic who really just, it's like if they don't make it into mainstream, we don't know their stories. And it's very important to learn as many people about these stories as we can, because everybody has their own story to tell with the Titanic. And I definitely need to do more research into I like learning about the people who aren't in the mainstream media. There's a woman who, she was a Titanic passenger, and she wrote a book, and she was a first-class passenger, and she's mentioned briefly in one of the James Cameron films. I cannot think of her name. If you know in the chat, please let me know. But she wrote a book at the time, and it was, that's how she was traveling on Titanic. And the book was called How a Woman Could Get Along Successfully in Life Without a Man, because, at the time, it was more expected for women to, become wives and stuff like that. But she wrote a book, saying how, you didn't have to do that. And the book was a bestseller, and that's how she was traveling on Titanic, was the book, made her money. I cannot remember her name, but she had this, she said that on the last sunrise the Titanic ever saw, she slipped out to the very tip of the bow, where the I'm flying scene was. And as the ship was steaming along, she watched the sun come up, and she said that she could feel the power and the beauty of this ship. And she said she had a thought that the ship was stronger than life itself. And then she thought the ship may be even stronger than God himself. And then she said she felt really dark right after that, because she just thought something sacrilegious. It's just like that thought crossed her mind, and she felt horrible about it. But yeah, she's got another, I wish I could remember her name, but I cannot remember her name. But that's definitely a crazy story. Okay, let me get back. I'm missing these super chats. When I get off on these tantrums, I miss these super chats. Okay, the cutting room floor, 5, thank you. Sorry I missed the last stream, no problem cutting. So when do we get German superliners? Imperator took the largest ship medal from Titanic. Excuse me. Largest ship medal from Titanic, and her sisters are cool. I will get to those as soon as I can, man. I've got so many ships backlogged. As far as German ships, I think the first one I'd like to do is the, I have a hard time saying the Kaiser Wilhelm II. It was that 4-stack, Kaiser Wilhelm II, Delhelm. I know I'm getting that sort of right, but I know I'm not saying that whole name right. But that's definitely one ship that I would like to do. I know what ship I'm thinking of. I just know I'm not saying the name exactly right. But yeah, it's definitely going to come. Justin, 5. There are major collier on the Titanic. There was a major coiler on the Titanic. How do you find out if you have any relatives who sailed on it? If you have any, the same last name, is there a way? I'm not sure if there's an exact way to figure out if you have a relative on the Titanic. I think you just have to trace your ancestry. But I mean, if I were you and you think you have like somebody on the ship, I would go to Encyclopedia Titanica, because there's a lot of information about the passengers there. So I'd just say, trace back your family history. I know as far as my family, my earliest ancestors that I'm aware of, they came over to the U.S. in the late 1600s. Literature, 15, great channel. Thanks, Literature. And MR, did you ever play Save the Titanic? Oh, yeah, that game that was made by one person. Yeah, glitchy, but it's still good. It's good for what it is, you know what I mean? Villa, 5, thank you. Sam, using your Titanic model, what do you think the Titanic looked like seconds before breakup? Like the final angle? I believe they say around 23, 24 degrees. I think she was something like this. Like she didn't climb very high out of the water, but 23, 24 degrees, something like that, because there is testimony that people were sliding down the deck. There were people falling down the deck. So it was a pretty high angle for people to be slipping and falling. But now that didn't happen until very close to the end. So, I'd say 23, 24, 25 degrees, somewhere around there. And okay. And we are at the 1 hour and 4 minute mark. Wow, we're already over. So guys, I'll take a couple of more questions tonight, and then we are going to conclude the live stream for the evening. Tom the Pop, hello, $10. Thank you so much. Much love, Sam. Thank you, Tom. What would have happened with Captain Smith didn't end? Okay, much love, Sam. What would have happened with Captain Smith didn't end his shift during the night of the sinking? Would he have handled the iceberg situation differently compared to Murdoch? I doubt it. Captain Smith and Murdoch, they both knew what they were doing. I think Smith would have handled the situation in the exact same way. And you also have to think Murdoch most likely saw the iceberg before Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee, because it was later testified that the ship, by the time that Frederick Fleet called the bridge and let them know what was going on, the Titanic was already turning. So I believe Murdoch saw the berg before the lookouts did. And it would be a little bit easier for Murdoch to spot the berg because he was lower on the ship. And, I think having a lower angle would help with the mirage effect. So that's my theory. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I think. I think that they said that because of the weird weather phenomenon, being lower instead of higher would help you see better. So, but yeah, I think they would have handled it the exact same way because both of those guys knew what they were doing. And don't worry, guys, I'll show you Rosie. Oh, and Caleb Moore, thank you for the 5 super chat. Thank you so much for the 5 super chat. I missed that earlier. That's why I have somebody helping me with the super chats. Thank you, Penprop. James Duffy, 10, thank you so much. Take them in. Oh, wait. Okay, we're all caught up. All right, take them in. They have as much right to life as we have. Can you make room for them? Were the exact quote that John Jacob Astor said to John Foley when they saw the overturned lifeboat. That's crazy. Wait, overturned lifeboat? Huh? John Jacob Astor. No, yeah. So his last moments were on the Titanic's deck. Huh. So wait, was he around? Did he see something with the, he saw something with the overturned lifeboat? I've never heard that before. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, we are definitely going to get a video on John Foley and John Jacob Astor now. That is really interesting. I didn't know that stuff. Very, very interesting. Huh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for telling me about him. That's crazy. Unprofessional Matters, 10. Thank you so much. Hi, Sam. Thoughts on saving the Titanic? Irish made docudrama about the engineers who have their lives to say to keep the systems running. That is an unbelievable documentary. That is an unbelievable documentary. For those of you who don't know, there's a documentary on YouTube called Saving the Titanic, and it's all about the engineers below the deck, in the boiler rooms and everything, and in the engine room, and everything they did to keep the Titanic's power and systems running for as long as possible. Unbelievable film. You have to watch it. They do get one detail wrong that makes me cringe a little bit, but they talk about the coal fire damaging the bulkhead, and that's the reason why that bulkhead collapsed. That's the one detail that makes me cringe a little bit. But overall, the documentary is phenomenal, and you really have to think about what it must have been like for those guys, because for the men that were up on the deck, like the officers and stuff, when the Titanic sinks, you have a chance to survive because you can swim away from the sinking ship. But when you're inside the Titanic, with the boilers and the engine rooms, you're not getting out of there. If you stay there, you're going to die. And just the fact that those guys stayed at their posts and it's crazy to think about it. Honestly, those men are definitely the unknown heroes of the Titanic disaster, and they definitely need to get more praise. They definitely do. Because those men, they didn't die with a brandy glass in their hand. They died with a wrench, just trying to stop the bleeding of the ship. And great documentary. Great, great, great documentary. Highly recommend it. Saving the Titanic, guys. Jonathan 5. Thanks, Jonathan. Hey, Sam, you mentioned that in your ancestry traces back to the 1600s in America. Did your family come over on the Mayflower? No, they did not. My mom actually did this thing where she was able to trace back our ancestry. And I forget what year, but it was the late 1600s. That was as far back as she could find. That was as far back as she could get. I forget what year it was, but no, it wasn't that. But thanks for the super chat. That's funny. Electro 5, do you think you will take a trip on the Blue Star Line's Titanic 2? I've said that before. Go back and watch the rerun of the stream because I talk about how I feel about the Titanic 2. If I see it and they let people come aboard and look at it, I'd like to go. I would check it out, but I don't think they should build it at all. I really don't, because they're not They're trying to capitalize off the Titanic story, and I don't think that's right. I don't think they should do that. Okay, here we go. You guys you guys don't want the stream to end, do you? Okay, NOK50, thank you so much. Chasta, can you make a video about the sinking of the German warship Blucher sunk in, I cannot pronounce that, Oslofjord? I can't pronounce that, during the invasion of Norway in 1940. I will take a look into that. I'm not familiar with it, but I will go ahead and add that to the list right now. But thank you so much for that super chat, and it's on the list, and that may be one of the German ships we take a look at. Thank you so much, Krista, or Chista, however you say your name. Thank you. And Harry5, thank you so much. Do you think there was anything about the James Cameron movie did better than A Night to Remember? Also, when did you get into Titanic? The James Cameron movie is what got me into Titanic. And here's the thing about the James Cameron movie. He wanted the movie to be as accurate as possible, you know, based on what we knew in the 90s around the Jack and Rose love story. And honestly, I think they did a great job with that movie based on what they did with it, you know, because I mean, think about like when they're showing that shot, you know, right after the ship hits the berg and they're getting the lifeboats ready, and you hear the steam venting from the funnel, that loud whoosh. I mean, like if you've got surround sound on, I mean, that sound is deafening, and you can see the officers clamp their hands over their mouths and yell because the steam venting from the funnels is so loud that those officers, while getting those lifeboats ready, were, no joke, yelling at the top of their lungs and having to have their hands around the guy's ear for them to hear them. And that scene is really good. I mean, honestly, they did such a good job. They did such a good job with that movie. The details they showed were great. And A Night to Remember is also great. You just have to, it's accurate for what we knew in the 90s. I think they did a really good job with that movie. And A Night to Remember is very accurate based on what we knew in the 50s. So they both have their positives and negatives, you know. That's what I think. And okay, we got another 5. Thank you so much. It was widely reported that John Jacob Astor's body was found horribly mangled. I had not heard that. I'd need to do some more research into that. But the only way that I think that could happen is if he was around the breakup zone, which I've never heard. The only time I know about John Jacob Astor was he was last seen, I believe, towards the bow, smoking a cigar as the final plunge was beginning, or near the bridge. But I'll have to do some research into that. The only way his body could be mangled, that I would think, is if he was somewhere near the breakup zone. And Ghost Rider 2, thank you so much. Can you do a video on the German battleship Bismarck? That's already on the list. I'm going to talk about the Bismarck and the Hood in the same video. Yes, I'm going to get that. Heather 10, thank you so much. Do you think they should let all the artifacts deteriorate with the Titanic or save them before they do? I've talked about that in another video. And here's the thing. If they don't recover artifacts from the Titanic, then we are going to lose them forever. Now, I don't think they should take everything from the ship, but I am definitely, I used to be very much against them going inside the Titanic and taking things from it. And beforehand, they were only ever recovering artifacts from the Titanic's debris field. They weren't taking anything from inside the ship. But now, because we see how fast the Titanic's deteriorating, I'm more pro them going inside and taking a few things if they do it respectfully. If they don't damage the ship, they go in and they take stuff a little bit at a time and just be very careful with it and keep the ship around as long as possible. Because the only way we know the Titanic now is from the story and the artifacts. Because most of us can't go down and see the real ship, you know. And we are going to lose her if they don't do anything. So I think as long as they do it respectfully and I don't want the ship to be gutted, but I'm okay with them taking a couple of things now because we are going to lose the Titanic. Okay, and great question, by the way. Martin 5, can you do a video on the SS Nomadic, RMS Titanic, and RMS Olympics tender? The last White Star Line ship in existence. Absolutely. And whenever I can get over to Belfast, I want to film it because I would like to go and visit ships before I do a video on them if the ships are still around. But I am going to be doing a video on Queen Mary soon, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get over to LA to see it because I was hoping to do the Queen Mary video when they open the Queen Mary again, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen for a while. So I'll probably just make the video anyway. But yeah, eventually I will do a video on the Nomadic. But thank you so much for the super chat and thank you for the question. Okay, guys, would you guys like to see Rosie before I go? Would you guys like to go see Rosie before I sign off for the night? 5, thank you so much. I read something about J.J. Astor being on one of the wing bridges when the funnel fell on it. Really? I hadn't heard that. Well, that would make sense if his body was mangled from the funnel falling. I never thought about the funnel falling on him. Huh. I don't know. I'd have to do some research into that. That's crazy. But thank you for the thought. All right. You guys want to see Rosie? Let me see what she's doing. Let me see what Rosie's doing. Be right back. All right. She is sound asleep, so I'm going to go get her. Oh, and I do have 2 other things I want to show you before I sign off. Number 1, in my store, if you guys would like to check out. And let's go. And I do have a upgrade to my, I'm going to start doing some work to my studio. And I have a prop that I'm going to put into the background that I'll show you guys what it is here in a second. But let's go find Rosie in her natural habitat. Oh, yeah. And the guy who asked me, the guy who asked me what another one of my favorite Titanic artifacts is, it's this photo that was signed by the last Titanic survivor, Melina Dean. I forgot to mention this earlier, but this is one of my absolute favorites. My parents got me this when I was younger. The stream is lagging very bad now. Is the stream okay, guys? How's the stream, guys? How's the quality? How's the stream? Can you guys see anything? I'm waiting on the chat. Can you guys see anything? How's the stream quality? Testing, testing, testing. Is the stream okay or is it bad? House review, laggy. All right, guys. If the stream's bad, I don't know if you'll be able to see Rosie. All right, I'll go ahead and show her, but good now. Okay. All right, let's just, maybe it looks like the stream lags out whenever I move the camera around a lot. So, but let's see if we can find Rosie. There she is. She likes, Rosie, say hi to her. Say hi, everybody. Rosie, are you tired? Are you tired, Rosie? Rosie, say hi to everybody. Oh, okay. Rosie's tired. She had a big walk today, so Rosie's tired. She likes her belly scratched. There's Rosie. Okay. Oh. There's Rosie. She's a baby. Oh, I knocked my paper towels over. All right. And the only other thing I wanted to show you guys, I meant to show you guys this earlier, but I found this when I was on vacation, and I'm like, this would look great in my studio. I'm not an expert on this. I need to look up the history of it, but I actually bought a Lego, the crocodile. It's a train, and I thought this would look so cool as a set piece when I'm done building it. So I thought I'm not a big Lego guy, but I thought this was insanely cool because of the history of it and everything. So I thought this would look very good as a background stage piece when I'm done building it. So I got that coming as well. I'm going to be doing some studio renovations before too long, so I thought that would look really cool there. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to conclude the stream tonight. The stream went, wow, 1 hour and 20 minutes tonight. Dang on. But yeah, all right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for watching. The stream was incredible. All the questions were great. The super chats were mind-blowing. I still can't get over all that. But thank you guys so much for the questions. Thank you so much for all the super chats. I'm going to be working hard on the Olympic video, so I'm going to try to get that done as soon as I can. If I can pull a rabbit out of the hat and finish it tomorrow, I'll have it up tomorrow evening. Worst case scenario, it'll be Tuesday evening. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. This chat was a ton of fun. You guys are awesome. Thank you all so much again. I seriously can't thank you all for all the support. I really, really can't. You guys, all you guys who did the super chats, thank you so much. And a huge, huge thanks to Psych and Jonathan. I mean, you guys, words can't describe it. Please come into my Discord. I really need to talk to both you guys. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much. You guys are awesome, and you guys have a good evening. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Next live stream, Sunday at 7:30, guys, just like always. Good night, everybody.